What's good, party people? This is According to Woods, and I have the honor and privilege of talking to a combat sports veteran who will be stepping in the ring August 29th. He is none other than Rafael Newborn Morel. Rafael, how you doing, my man?
Oh man, I'm good. I'm feeling good. A little tired. Woke up early this morning and went to go train. So
There it is.
yeah,
There it is. Now, I mean, obviously, I mean, you're fighting August 29th, right? But I mean, obviously, the last 5 months have been crazy, pretty much everywhere, right? So,
yeah,
you're out in North Carolina. The fight is happening in North Carolina. So, what has
yeah.
been the state? Oh, is it not
No, it's in South Carolina.
South Carolina? I get my
Yeah,
Carolinas confused. My bad. My bad.
it's all
But
good. I do too. It's all right.
so what has been the training aspects? Because here in California, fortunately, a lot of the gyms are closing, or it's kind of like a speakeasy. Like a couple of gyms are open, but you gotta have to have a passcode, or they're doing Zoom calls and all that jazz, with their members. So like, what has been the training scenario been where you are?
Well, mostly a lot of cardio. We've been doing a lot of cardio and stuff like that. Now the gyms here, they can open, but there's a little twist to it. I guess you can say the only way that the gyms can open here in North Carolina is if you're a professional athlete. So you know what I mean. So that's a good way that the our governor made it to be. So um, if you're a professional athlete, so basically that's how can I say a base of income that comes into your household as well. So it helps us out a lot.
No, 100%, 100%. And that's the other thing about, this whole thing going on. A lot of fighters, right, here in Southern California and other places, essentially everything was wrapped up in the gym. Not only did they train there, but they earned like a full-time living, doing private lessons and coaching classes and everything like that. So it wasn't just like the gym owner who a lot of times was a former fighter, but also the fact that the fighters there, the current fighters that fight in lights out extreme fighting or Bellator, UFC, LFA, all of these people that are getting, the that are getting the call now to the big shows. And it's funny because the call to the big shows are happening more so in this COVID situation than ever before. But they're without income, they're without places to train. It's just kind of crazy.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I agree with that. Yeah. It has been crazy here these past few months and stuff like that, dude. And it's just well, we're lucky that here in North Carolina and stuff like that, the governor, made that rule for us and everything like that, especially for the professional athletes and everything like that, because that is a form for us to make money and for us to, pay our bills and everything like that as well. And I do understand, uh, the owners, point of view as well, because I'm also a coach at the gym that I train at as well. So it did back us up a little bit.
Yeah. So I guess when did everything? Not to say everything is like opened up, but like when did you kind of get the clear cut sign that, hey, not only do I have the confidence to take this fight, but also I'm confident that I'm going to get some great training in to make sure that my performance is optimal come August 29th.
Well, how do you call it? This fight was supposed to happen. Let's see. This fight was supposed to happen about right before the coronavirus hit. So I was getting some good training and stuff like that. And then when it hit, the fight got canceled, and then I got back to my routine and everything like that of being here at home and everything. So after we figured out that the fight was going to be back on, I started training again, which that at that time was when uh, the governor had actually put out that professional athletes can train, but only the professional athletes. You can't have like amateur fighters or anything like that, just the professionals. And so I started training again, started getting focused and getting everything ready. And I mean, we had our cardio going. we had our pattern. You know, I mean, everything that we used to get ready for this fight, we had it going perfect, and then they canceled again. And then, which I mean, it just because the fight had canceled doesn't mean I was gonna stop training. I didn't stop training. I kept training. I kept doing what I had to do because I had a feeling that the the promoter was gonna call, message me again and tell me, hey, look, the fight's back on for August 29th. And and I was just like, yeah, for sure, I'm down. But I told him I wanted it in writing. I wanted the contract in hand. I need it in hand because I'm over here killing myself, cutting weight and everything like that to make sure this fight happens. You know, and he handed me the contract. We got everything done, got it signed, and I'm still training. I woke up early this morning after spending the night with my wife and stuff like, watching movies and relaxing and everything like that, and woke up early and got in the car and head straight to the gym and started working on some cardio and some boxing combinations, some doing what we do.
That's absolutely brilliant. And I mean, that scenario that played out, with you and the promoter almost reminded me of that line out of Jay and Silent Bob, like, put that in my hand. If the money doesn't show, then you owe me, owe me, owe. And then Jungle
Yeah.
Love. Anyway, that's one of my favorite movies. So, yeah, so that's crazy that obviously, as professional athletes, you're able to train, because I mean, take it back to like the 70s, right? Like in Charlotte, right? There were no other teams, right? There wasn't the Carolina Panthers. There wasn't any like Charlotte Bobcats and anything like that. It was just
Right.
professional wrestling of anything. Not even like
Yeah.
boxing shows and stuff like that. So with that all being said, it's you could see why the state legislation made like the big push for professional athletes to continue training because it is a big part of the state's economy.
Right. It is. It is definitely. I agree on that. Because yeah, like North Carolina is like the late is we're late bloomers, I guess you can say. Like you said, we are late bloomers because believe it or not, MMA and like boxing commission and everything like that, I think we were the last one of the last states to get everything going. So yeah, I mean, I all I can say is that I'm grateful that everything like worked out the way it was in our state here in North Carolina.
That's
So
so brilliant. That's so brilliant. Now I kind of want to spin it back, right? Because obviously, um, there are easy. I mean, I say it all the time, but it is absolutely true. There's easier ways to make a living than as a professional fighter, right?
yeah.
So, what was it that drew you in as a young man to the wild world of combat sports?
Ooh, I'll show you this man right here.
Wow,
Yeah,
who's it? Is it?
that's my grandfather.
Wow.
Yeah, my grandfather was he was one of the well-known boxers in Cuba, and he was also one of the well-known in Pennsylvania as well, stuff like that. So, and we share a name, so it was something that I felt like I should do, especially since he started training me when I was 8, and and then things got a little difficult when I turned 16 and stuff like that when he passed away. So I feel like me getting into this and stuff like this mostly because of him. I wanted to do it under his name, and I wanted to keep it going. You know what I mean?
No, I totally know what you mean because so I'm half African American and half Fijian, right, from the Fiji Islands. And
Right.
my grandfather, even though we don't share the same name, first name or last name, but Wame Wanganisanini was the literal first Fijian-born broadcaster in the entire country, right?
Oh,
And he
nice.
did it, yeah, in like World War II. He was stationed in Germany and he was pretty high. Like he was like the third highest in command of the Fijian army that sided with the Allied forces. And he was stationed in Munich. During the war, during World War II. and he saw the BBC guys broadcasting back home, and he was just like, you know what? Of course, like we speak English. We're a part of the British Commonwealth, but I mean, wouldn't it be cool if the Fijians heard it in their own language, then used in their own language? So he basically used his political clout and had the BBC guys, show him, and then voila, like
Yeah.
they basically built the first. At the time, it was radio, and now they've evolved into a TV station in Fiji.
Right.
My uncle, you can Google it. He was one of the co-founders of the Fiji Post newspaper that was the first non-governmental, English or Fijian independent newspaper in Fiji. So,
Okay. Yeah.
uh, yeah, so I totally understand that, and
Yeah.
it's weird. I went my own way about it, and I fought it for a long time. I'm like, nah, I'm just gonna get a regular job and not do this, and then here we are.
Yeah. Well, I mean, don't get me wrong. I got a regular job too.
Yeah,
Yeah,
no, but
I got multiple. I got to like, I work at the gym, and then I also work at a framing furnitures and stuff like that. So, and then doing this the professional way of martial arts and mixed martial arts as well. You know.
no, 100%. Literally, you've got the skills to pay the bills, right?
Yeah. Well, I'm trying.
There you go. Yeah, and you know what? Everybody's got anybody that tells you that they didn't like have a, low key like red, cutoff notice or whatever. They're lying because
Oh yeah,
I know a couple guys like that fought in the UFC last night for sure. Before the last
dude.
like before
UFC was
2020
on last
happened.
night.
Yeah, man, dude, Daniel Rodriguez is one of my boys, and that should have been a fight of the night, contender, extra $50,000. He's
Where was
nuts.
I at? Where was I at? I didn't know there was a UFC fight last night.
Yeah, it was on ESPN and ESPN Plus.
Oh man, I can't believe I missed that out.
Yeah, it's still there, so definitely check it out. But I mean,
All right.
the one last week was kind of very crazy because obviously, we had COVID tests here, people missing weight there, and then like one dude on the way to the cage passed out, and then his fight was called out literally, as the fight was about to go. He was making his walk and right
Right.
before, and then passed out, and the commission was like, we're not doing that, right? So, so obviously, I think
Dang.
yeah, like last week they had 8 fights. They had 8 fights this time too, and even Daniel Rodriguez. With what ended up happening was both he had an original opponent, right, and a Japanese gentleman, and essentially what happened was his opponent either fell out. I can't remember if it was a misweight or whatever, and then
Right.
another dude's opponent, you know, fell out for whatever reason, and they were like, "Hey, why don't we just make the two guys that can fight in the same division?" So that's what happened, you know.
Wow. So it sounds like a lot went on last night.
Yeah, it happens. I mean, those things do, but obviously, it's crazy because obviously there are sports that, have bigger followings, right? Like the
Right.
NFL, a football, basketball, whatever, but it seems like combat sports are the first to return. I mean, Rainville, Alabama had the Rumble in Rainsville last night. So that was the first kind of any type of Alabama sanctioned event that happened in Alabama since pre-COVID. We had a Golden Boy boxing fight that happened here. I want to say 2, maybe 3 weeks ago.
Okay.
At a native reservation here. But I mean that was it. But I mean, I'm hearing in terms of like what it costs to run COVID tests for all of these, the promotions and whatever, just for the COVID tests, right? Here in
Hmm.
California, it's $40,000.
Jesus.
$40,000. We don't know how, and that's the number that's getting floated around. Don't know how many fighters or people that covers because when you think about it, just one fight, right? Just one fight. You've got the two fighters. there are two corners, right? So we're already at six people, one ref, three judges, right?
Right.
So that's nine, and then you've got at least probably one, possibly two camera people, right?
Right.
And and that's it. So you're just one fight alone. You've got to COVID test 12 people. So again, for that $40,000, COVID test price, don't know how much or how many fighters that covers, but that's it. So that's the reason why like only like the Golden Boys or the top ranks or what have you can run
Right.
because no local show can afford that. So that's $40,000. On top of that, you've got you've got the insurance. You've got to pay the fighters. So you could easily, like a small estimate, like a conservative estimate, be out $100,000 just to
Uh-huh.
run a card in California, and then all of the same tax breaks. So I mean, tax rates apply. So you're getting taxed, and you have no fans, so no income coming in. So it's only the big names that can run. Like most people are like, oh well, MMA can come back. Da da da. Yes, it can, but the price tag only the top guys can do.
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know nothing like that goes had happened down in California. Yeah, up here it's here they do the COVID test, but I don't think it costs that much.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean I went and got mine done for free. And so hopefully if they do, because I'm not sure, I'm pretty positive that they're gonna ask me if I had the test and stuff like that for the fight next week on Saturday. But I have a copy of it in my phone and everything like that. Shows that I came back negative. So I mean, either way, I mean, all my medicals are done, everything's done, my COVID test is done, and everything like that. So I'm down, I'm ready to rumble. It's up to my opponent to, what I mean, see what's
Yeah,
going on with him.
absolutely. And that's the thing. Well, and just a word to the wise, when they're like, "How'd it go?" Don't say came back positive.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
No, man. So obviously, I mean, that was pretty cool. You had your grandfather, right? That essentially, brought you into the sport. But were you watching any tape, with your grandpa or any of that stuff? Were you influenced by somebody, or was it just the training?
No, actually, the reason why my grandfather started training me and stuff like that is because I used to get bullied a lot. A lot.
Wow.
Yeah. Like I grew up in one of the roughest neighborhoods in Miami, Florida. So, what I mean? And it put a big toll on me, especially because since I was a small guy in school and I was real quiet and nobody, you know, they were like, well, since he's the quiet guy, let's pick on him. And, he's small, so we can toss him around, this and that. So, I got into one real bad fight when I was younger. I was like 8 and a half, about to turn 9 years old. And, my grandfather was living with us at the time because family situations between him and my grandmother, and he saw me come back home, the way that I looked and how I was crying and everything else like that. So he's like, you know what, I'm tired of these people messing with him. He told my mom, he was like, I'm gonna teach him how to box. He's got to learn how to defend himself at least to these people, because if he keeps letting them run him over, they're gonna run me over. At least he's gonna have a chance to defend himself. And we started training and it just stuck. And I fell in love with the sport. And then when he passed away, I felt like I couldn't do it without him. So I moved up here to me and my family. We all moved up here to North Carolina, and then I met Rick Davis. There's a lot of people. He's well known, especially here in North Carolina. He's a heavyweight, 3-time world champion in Muay Thai and stuff like. He's a black belt in Brazilian Jiu Jitsu as well. So then I started going to his gym. But see, the thing is, before I stepped foot into that gym, I saw his sign outside. and it said Thai boxing. So I thought I've never heard of that. So I was like, I thought it was like a different style of boxing. So I go ahead and go inside and join the class and everything like that. And luckily, yeah, just my luck, it was sparring day. So I went in there and I started sparring with some of the guys and I'm throwing hands. And the next thing you know, I'm getting kicked. So I'm like, I don't know what's going on. So I started kicking right back. And then I just kept training and kept moving on and started falling in love with MMA and Muay Thai and the whole 9 yards. And got a couple fights in MMA and uh, decided that I think it was time for me to actually step back into boxing a little bit to see if I still got it and see if I can still follow my grandfather's footsteps.
Oh, that's so brilliant. That's so brilliant. And I'm gonna bring up a comment. Aaron Vincent, the voice of Walkout FC and many other awesome promotions. So shout out to the Riz and check him out on his social medias because he's awesome, just awesome. But he's like
Nice.
newborn,
What's up,
which get
bud?
used to that because that's what's gonna happen August 29th.
Exactly. Exactly.
Now, I
That's
mean, obviously, um, you know, getting in, right? And obviously you had the background, that the foundation that your grandfather basically instilled in you, right? In terms
mhm.
of your boxing prowess. But Muay Thai, right? Like you're kicking now. And like you said,
Yeah.
it gets, I mean, it got crazy and I'm just going to kick back and, like, oh, I'm going to sweep this and whatever. What was I mean, did you really think about it or you just adapted?
It took a while. I don't know what it was, but he saw Rick Davis. He saw something in me, man. I guess, and he to this day he still tells everybody that I have like talent that he's never seen before and stuff like that. So like that kind of boosts me. It boosts me up, makes me feel good that I have something that I'm actually good at. So for the first year, I didn't throw not one single punch, my guy. Not one. I worked on nothing but lower body, straight knees, foot jabs, kicks, and everything like that. Checking, how to check a kick, how to sweep. I cannot throw not one single punch for a whole year until I got my kicks right, my foot jab right, my knees right, my clinch work right, you know. And I can say it's been 15 years now, been doing this now, and I'm still. A lot of people usually they get worn out and stuff like that, man, but not me. I'm still going through it. I'm still loving it. I'm still, this is my world. This is my passion, and I'm not gonna stop. If I give up now, especially knowing that I got a daughter and stuff like, if I give up now, then what am I teaching her? You know, and I don't want to do that.
No, 100%. And again, what you're doing now, she's looking at you right now, but also, as she goes in through her young life and figuring out her life, right? She sees that, hey, she sees dad's championship belts. She sees that you are putting in the work to get what you want out of your life, right? She's
Right.
going to do that in the same, and she's not going to take no's for an answer when people tell her she can't do this or whatever. She's not because she's gonna look at what my dad did, and guess what?
Yeah.
If you have any problem with that, you can answer to him.
Well, she can my daughter can actually thank her mother for that too, because her mother actually pushed me. She gave me a push that nobody else would. You know what I mean? And I stopped fighting for a while. If it wasn't for my wife and everything like that, pushing me to continue my career as a fighter and pushing me to become greatness and stuff like that, to have a goal and to have that set in your mind saying, don't give up. It's, this is your passion. This is what you love to do. You go out there, you do it. I'm here to support you. And she's been supporting me for so long. Like, it's not even funny, man. Has nobody supported me as long as my wife has. And she, my wife and my daughter are the reason why I'm still in this. And they're constantly pushing me. They're constantly believing in me, even though we get into our little, our little spunks and stuff like that about, the way that I train and, a lot of stuff like that. But her words sometimes, to some people it might seem hurtful, but to me, it's nothing but just a push, to just make me just keep on going and stuff like that. And for her and for that, I thank my wife. And if she's watching this right now, which I hope she is, I hope she does know that I do appreciate everything that that she's done for me, and all the sacrifices that she has done for me. Because if it wasn't for her and my daughter, there's no way I would have still been in this game.
Wow, that's amazing. A powerful man is propped up on the shoulders of two powerful women. A young one and your daughter, and your wife. So shout out to both of them. That I think that's amazing. Now, obviously, I mean, a fit. Being able to adapt, right? That is kind of been the way that you set your life. And I don't know if it was intended, but again, you were talking about 16 losing your grandfather, the person who kind of instilled in you the ability to fight, and fighting the right way, right? And then you go from Miami, Florida to North Carolina, right? And then you end up at Rick Little's gym, and then you essentially think you're going to box, and then they start kicking you, right?
Right,
So
right,
in both deals, right? Both instances, you could have been like, "Oh my gosh, like I'm not doing it." Like, hell no, I'm not moving to North Carolina. Hell no, I'm not gonna start kicking. Let's just square up and let's duke it out. Like, let's figure this out.
right,
But
right.
but you did it. Both times you rose to the occasion and adapted to the situation as it as it played, right? So where does that come from?
To be honest, man, I really don't know. It's just I'm through every because from everything that I've been through in life and stuff like that, man, I just it's it's something inside me that just keeps me humble and like, why not? You know what I'm saying? Why not try it? What do you got to lose? You got nothing to lose. And it's just something that I had to that you know when we were sparring and stuff like that, I got kicked and everything like that. It's like, it's just something different, but why not try to adapt to it so that way maybe since my grandfather's not around no more, I can't be great in boxing, but why can I not be great in this? You know what I mean? And I just kept, what I mean? I kept going, I kept training, and I ended up falling in love with it. And I started learning to adapt to it and adapt to everything else and adapt to the whole jujitsu and Muay Thai kickboxing. And, it's just, it's been good. It's been real. And be like,
That's brilliant. Now, obviously, I mean, you were training in two different striking disciplines, right?
right.
Both boxing into Muay Thai, right? And then you change it up again, and then you start learning your ground game, right? And doing jujitsu. So, I mean, that's not an easy thing to do. I mean, famously, Pat Barry, right? I mean, a world top 10 heavyweight at the time, was
Oh yeah,
in
Pat
the
Barry's a
UFC.
beast.
Right,
Oh man.
absolutely. But once he started getting taken down, he was like, screw this. We're not doing this. And he retired from MMA literally in the top 10 in the UFC and ended up in glory. And then now, obviously, he's the head coach of, one of the head coaches of his fiance, Thug Rose Namajunas, right?
Hmm.
But, you know, it's a hard thing. And most people just think, oh, well, you do combat sports, so you'll be able to do it all. But striking to grappling or grappling to striking, it's a tough road to sow. So, I mean, what were the kind of early uh, iterations and concepts in your mind of what like grappling, and ground fighting was?
Uh, well, to me, I thought it was kind of like a wrestling based kind of thing. You know what I mean? Because I did wrestle in middle school and I did wrestle some in high school and stuff like that. So I kind of like got the whole wrestling thing down pat. But the submission part was what kind of got me at the time. But the good thing about it is that thank God that there's people out there that knows how to schedule up, times and events, our events at the gym and stuff like, like our, we're gonna do the kickboxing this day, and then we're gonna do jujitsu right after that, and then you know what I mean. So it helped me a lot, especially because uh, how can I say, when it came to the jujitsu part and stuff like, it was kind of hard for me to adapt a little bit because I'm not so used to it and stuff like that, especially with the submissions. But thank God, I had a coach, and I had Rick that helped me and didn't give up on me and stuff like that. So he kept showing me. He actually worked a lot with me after hours as well, just for to make sure that I got it right and to make sure that I got everything, you know, perfect. He has a saying that says, a lot of people say practice is perfect, or whatever they say. Yeah, but for him, it's practice is permanent. It sets permanently into you, and it sets permanently into your mind, and that's the motto that I go with. And yeah, like I said, if it wasn't for them, taking their time with me and stuff, like, I probably would have never adapted to it all.
No, 100%. And it's funny when you look at anything, great. I mean, you're in North Carolina. You can't talk North Carolina without talking about the Nature Boy, Ric Flair. Woo, right? So it's one of those where, you know, he was a guy who took the basics, right, and just learned it, and repetition, 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 right? You knew
Right,
what you were getting out of a Ric Flair match, right? And the same thing with combat sports, any sort, that one-two combo, that arm bar, that knee bar, the rolling knee lock, whatever that may be, right? Um, Having interviewed fighters, right, when especially after like a crazy, crazy fight, knockout, submission, whatever, and it almost played out in an essence of a movie, right? And I'd ask
right,
him like, "Hey, where did that come from?" And almost 90% of the time, it's just like we were we were in the gym with my coaches and my teammates drilling that exact same thing, right? That same scenario, and it's just like like you said, practice makes perfect. No, practice is perfect. If you look at the what is it, like the 10,000 hours kind of ideology, right? If you do
right,
something 10,000 hours, you're going to be a master of it, right? Regardless of what that is, right? So
right.
if you find a way to make the little things count more, I mean, Francis Ngannou is knocking dudes into another atmosphere just with an uppercut, a simple
Yeah.
uppercut. But how many times has he thrown that uppercut with that strength, with that power?
Who
Probably
knows?
10,000 hours worth of time.
Yep. Yep. See, it's like something that my coach told me and stuff like, would you be afraid to go against a guy that knows thousands of submissions, or would you be afraid to go against a guy that knows that one submission and perfected it and knew for a fact that he's gonna get it?
Yep.
You know what I mean? So
Absolutely, and I mean we saw it in the instances of Ronda Rousey. There's countless other folks where their entire career was predicated on one move, right? But the
yeah,
setups were different. The way that they got to that point was different. The way they got out of a weird position to put them in a position where they could do the same thing. Again, 80 different scenarios. And my dad told me the same thing, but I mean, obviously a little bit of an iteration, because I was a kid, liked wrestling, and everything was wrestling, right? And I was like, do you want to be the person that knows a little bit about everything, or be a master of one? So lucky it worked out for me, because otherwise I'd probably be living at home with mom, and mom's not here anymore. So, uh, yeah, I don't know where I'd
yeah,
be, but
yeah,
we're able to figure it out, and that's the thing, and that's not just the journey as a martial artist, but that is a journey of a person's life at large.
yep, yep. It is. Yep, I agree 100%. Yep,
Now you obviously August 29th is coming up, right? So
right.
how did you said it, you had two cancellations before this, right? And then now it's happening. It's finally happening. You talk about obviously,
Sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. So you talk about brushing up your skills, right? That honing your skills after you know a long tenure in MMA, and Muay Thai and what have you, right? But you wanted to see, if what your grandfather taught you, and obviously what you've learned since his passing, wanted to see if you could make it all work. So, was that the behind the scenes thinking about getting into this boxing match rather than an MMA
Well,
or Muay Thai contest?
how do you call it? See, I went boxing. I went pro boxing. I want to say about 2, 3 years ago, and yeah, around that time is when I actually decided to go ahead and step into boxing and stuff like. Because I wanted to see what all I can do. But unfortunately, this match right here is going to be actually my last boxing fight and stuff like. I'm actually going to go back to MMA, and I'm gonna go ahead and start focusing on that and stuff like that because man, I'm at the close to being 30 years old, man. I'm not getting any younger, and I want to, I want to finish up what I started with up here in North Carolina, and I mean, I'm still gonna practice my boxing and everything else like that, because it's something that I'm not gonna let go of. But yeah, it's just, and this is gonna be my last boxing fight, so I actually want to go out with a bang. I want to, leave a footprint, and just want to change people's view of me, especially in the ring and stuff like that. Because the boxing game is real dirty, my guy. It really is. And either you're a winner or you're the meat that they feed to the wolves. And I just wanted to basically make it known that I'm not a piece of meat that you can feed to the wolves and stuff like that. Once you step in there with me, you're gonna know you're in a fight. So yeah, this time, since this is gonna be my last one, I'm gonna make sure that I'm gonna go out with a big bang.
I think that's brilliant. That's a swan song, and much like your fight name kind of notes, and encompasses, newborn, right? And so
Yeah,
the death of something has to give birth to something new, right? And
right.
with that all being said, I mean, I have to ask, right? So it was your grandfather that basically brought you in to the sweet science, right?
hmm
What do you think he would think of your career thus far and what you've done, in the gym and what have you so far?
Whew, man. Well, first off, I would hope he'll be proud of me. I mean, because I'm the only one in the family that actually followed his footsteps and stuff like that. So, um, I don't know if he was still here, man. I'm pretty sure he'll still be the one training me, but he'll also be the one helping me, with my learn more and the knowledge, and he'll, help me coach. And it's just hard to say, to be honest, man, because it's been so long. And my grandfather, he was how do you say it? He was kind of one of those people. Like my mom has this saying, like my parents said this to me plenty of time. That it's kind of called. It's in Spanish. They say that una persona no tiene lengua, no tiene pelo en la lengua. Like he didn't have hair in his tongue. He'll say what he has to say. So it's kind of hard to like pinpoint exactly what he would say about everything. But for most of it, I know for a fact he would have been proud.
That's brilliant. I think that's amazing. And none other than Alaskan featherweight champion, reigning independent, Tyson Duckworth says his dream lives on through you. So there you go. And thank you for chiming in, champ. Always a pleasure to have you. But yeah,
Yeah, thanks, Tyson.
yeah, man. And that's it. Obviously, no pressure, win, lose, or draw. You're stepping in, where, others in your family, and again, they followed their own passions, their own lives or whatever. But, it took two generations to get a you that is following in his footsteps almost to a T, and even winning championships. What I mean, did your grandfather hold any titles in boxing?
From what is some I want to say he did in Cuba and stuff like that. They see that the back then when he was boxing in Cuba and stuff like that, it was real like a real poor, you know, place in like Little Havana and stuff like. I mean, in Havana where he was at. But you win the title, you keep the title. But if you fight again and you lose your fight and stuff like, you have to give that title belt up. He doesn't. It's not like here, like when you win, you keep the title and then they bring
Yeah.
another title belt in and stuff like that. No, it didn't work that way. But yeah, he actually did win a couple belts and stuff like that, for a couple different divisions over there in Cuba. But he did lose quite a few of them before he retired in boxing. So it was, and then he did win. He still my grandmother has that title belt. My grandmother still has his title belt from when he fought in Pennsylvania. So yeah, he he's I think his brother still has three of them in Cuba, and then my grandmother has one in Orlando with her.
Wow, that's amazing. And I mean, again, following your grandfather's footsteps to a T, because you've got two title belts there, hanging up, proving that. I mean, your championship. It's not just that you're following his footsteps, but you're making your way, your championship road to glory in your own respective fields. So I think that's incredible.
I appreciate it. Yeah, it's just this is all I know. So I'm just gonna keep following it and keep doing it. I'm gonna go out with a bang every time. So
I love it. I love it. Now, obviously, I gotta ask. So, let's say, August 29th or September 1st. I'm not good with the times and the dates and the whatever, but
yeah,
win, right? New newborn wins his fight August 29th. What does the victory meal look like? I mean, what is your go-to? You wait back, you
Ooh,
know,
boy.
you get some like platanos. What is obviously crazy fight camp. The fight got pulled off, two times. So you got to be craving something. What is that thing?
A burger. I ain't gonna lie to you. Probably a burger, some pizza, some wings, some pasta with chicken and shrimp. A lot. Yeah, because I dropped a lot. I dropped a lot of weight for this, and I'm ready to go to the weigh-ins, weigh myself in, eat healthy, do the fight, and after the fight, I'm gonna munch. I'm going to a buffet. I'm going to Golden Corral. Forget it.
Hey, there you go, dude. They got the whole cotton candy machines. You might have eight of those. You know,
Yeah, yeah. I'm gonna cheat on my diet. Just don't tell nobody.
nobody
Yeah.
knows. You guys won't tell, will you? You
Nah.
guys won't tell. Yeah, and Rick, if you're watching this, I'm sorry. Anyway, so
Yeah.
so in terms of obviously, 15 years, as a young child, right, and then now you're an adult with a child of your own, right? I know the road as a fighter, it gets tough, right? So what are the things that motivate you? Like, is there music that you're listening to, podcasts that you're listening to, movies that you're watching? Like when it gets to be like, damn, why am I doing this? The sweat is pouring, whatever. The muscles are aching, whatever, and something pushes you to get to that next level. What is
Right.
it?
Well, the number one is my wife because she pushes me. She even though when I'm like, babe, should I rest today? She's like, no. She's like, get your butt up and you go to the gym and you do what you got to do and then you come home. And then the second thing that really pushes me, I mean, I don't think it's weird, but a lot of people, probably don't agree with me. But I listen to a lot of motivational speeches and stuff like that, and it pushes and it helps and stuff like that as well. So I mean, that's those are the two main things right there that
I
pushes
love
me.
it. I love it. What are the? Are you doing like TED talks? Are you doing podcasts or
For this,
for no for the like the motivational? Like what is the like where
oh,
what do you?
I just go on YouTube and start looking up some motivational speeches and stuff like that. There's one that I think his name, if I don't want to get his name wrong, stuff like that, but I think it's Ben Lyon or something like that. And like he has some real good things to say, and it does pump me up. And I mean, everything that he speaks of is about stuff that's happened to him. And I listen to the real things, things that are real in life and stuff like that, not just things that you say just to get money out of it. I want to hear something that went through that you went through, so that way I can, you know, so that would motivate me to continue to push forward and stuff like that.
No, I agree with you 100%. I mean, that's the reason why you know loving combat sports. I mean, it's a passion. It's like a life's work because the truest stories happen in a ring or in a cage, right? You get to see the people's emotion. When you have like a Merced Betic versus gosh, Darren Elkins, right, from UFC 209, right? And
Right,
Betic is just like, I mean, pulverizing um, the damage, right? Darren Elkins, he's pulverizing him. I mean, like Darren Elkins' face literally looks like ground meat and whatever, right? And and then all of a sudden, the last round, the last like few seconds or like last minute of the third round, Elkins, knocks out Bentic. And I mean, I was in T-Mobile Arena. I couldn't tell you the pop that happened in that arena. It was just amazing, like something, whatever. And then he literally, and Joe Rogan talks about it on his podcast, right? He lets out this like growl, like this primal growl, right? Like, and
right,
you saw his soul in that moment. Willing to do anything that it takes to come out the victor. And it's just like all of that. In that moment, it encompasses all the sacrifices. It encompasses all of the hard days in training and doubting yourself and doubting stuff that happens, your personal life, whatever. Then in the literal fight, you are literally getting your ass handed to you, and you come out with the win, like, and knock out the opponent that has been pulverizing you for the last two rounds. Like that's
right.
it. So I can't sit, and nothing against it, but like I can't sit down and watch like the Avengers or whatever because like 10 minutes in, I'm all like, okay, I wonder what fights are going on. I'm sure UFC Fight Pass is better. Like I'm,
Yeah,
it's just kind of hardwired.
yeah, yeah. I do. Yeah, but it's just, to me, I'm just, especially for this fight and stuff like that, man. It's kind of like it's more, how can I say, like emotional for me and stuff like that, because everybody's already betting against me, especially up from Virginia and stuff like that. Because I mean that's the only reason why because they think I'm a guarantee win for their guy and stuff like that. And it's kind of like disappointing because they don't know me as well as they should. But you know, it's right now it's kind of emotional, but for when I get to that weigh in and stuff like, it's gonna be like, you know what, dude, it's whatever. Let's go in there. We're gonna bang it out, and I'm gonna come up on top. I don't care if you think you're gonna pummelize me for the first, second, third round, whatever it is. Nah, it ain't gonna happen, man. I'm not the same guy that I used to be before. Stuff like that. I'm ready for this, and I'm gonna be the one at the end with my hands up.
Damn right. I love it. I love it. Now, obviously, I mean, there's going to be a lot that goes into this fight on Saturday, August 29th. But you didn't get here alone, not by a long shot, right? You might step into the ring alone, but there's a swarm of support, kind of hedging up behind you. So
Yeah.
take take your time, my man. Take as long as you need. Let's get some shout outs out of the way.
All right. First shout outs that I want to do is to my wife. Yeah, I love her. I love you, Wendy. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't be able to do this at all. To my daughter as well, because her birthday is on Wednesday and Saturday is my fight. So this fight is for you. Shout out for my gym at Atlantic MMA. Shout out for my family here. For my cousin Jay. Uh, for Leslie, she's been helping me a lot, helping with the cardio, the coaching, the whole 9 yards. If it wasn't for her as well, I probably wouldn't be in the best shape that I am right now. Uh, I just want to thank my big shout outs to my sponsors, MMA T Company, for the shirts, for being there for me, for believing in me to give me the opportunity to sponsor me and everything like that. And for everybody at the gym that's been helping me, man, I really appreciate it. And I want to give a shout out to you as well for letting me be here, and for the broadcast and everything like that, for you, introducing me out to the people out there in California and everything like that too. Uh, you know, if it wasn't for all of y'all believing in me, man, I wouldn't believe in myself. So I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, we appreciate you. And a really special shout out goes to one Everett Osmer uh, for setting us to
Oh yes, yes, yes,
yeah,
yes, my
he's the real
guy, my
MVP.
guy.
Yeah,
He is.
he's the real MVP. So shout out to you, Everett. I hope you're enjoying your Sunday. Hope you're enjoying this very podcast episode. And this one is for you, my man. So
Yeah,
we
Everest. Thank you,
appreciate it.
Everest.
Dang right. So um, one last push, right?
Yep.
What are people going to see come August 29th, Saturday, in South Carolina? I got that right, right?
Yeah, you got it.
Yes. In South Carolina, what are they going to see out of one newborn Rafael Morel?
Well, I'm not gonna get into straight details and stuff like that, but just know for a fact that my hand's gonna be raised and you guys are gonna see a new fighter.
I love it. I love it.
It's
And
gonna be
for
a
those who
surprise,
have,
y'all. Surprise.
yes, yes, and you got to tune in, and we'll post. If there's a link, we'll post the link and what have you. So we'll do all of that. But
Nice.
for those who haven't already followed you on social media, where can they do that, my man?
All right. On Facebook, you can look me up on Facebook as Rafael Newborn Morel, and then on Instagram, you can look me up as MMA Newborn. Just on that's on Instagram. Yeah. If you can follow me, that'll be awesome. You follow me, I follow you. Let's make it happen.
Dang right. Well, I speak for everybody that's watching here and many that haven't watched yet, but they will. 100% they will. But we thank you and sending all types of good skill to you come Saturday, August 29th in South Carolina. And we'll be here to watch it, my man.
All right. Appreciate it, my guy. Wish me
No
luck.
worries. But this has been According to Woods with newborn Rafael Morel, and we are out. And don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to According to Woods on YouTube and Facebook. So there's that. But bye.
See ya.